This is Asia Trade. I'm Shibrian in Tokyo.
I'm April Hong in Singapore. Your top stories this hour. Growing fears of a U.S. strike on Iran set to send Asian stocks lower while extending a surge in oil prices. The S&P 500 falling while treasuries and the dollar edge higher on haven demand. The U.S. amasses an array of forces in the Middle East, with President Trump saying Iran has 15 days at most to strike a deal over its nuclear program. Also ahead, Blue Owl Capital restricts withdrawals from one of its private credit funds, raising fresh concern over risks in the $1.8 trillion market. Plus, we speak exclusively with the CEO of Japanese chip material supplier Resonac about their growth outlook amid surging AI demand. Now here's a look at markets. It's really that heightened geopolitical concern as the U.S. amasses forces in the Middle East. Those worries as well that Iran could shut down the Strait of Hormuz. This is, of course, a key global shipping lane. So we saw oil extending its surge. WTI spot prices above 66 a barrel. Spot and call buyers both at work here, as you can see on this chart. So there is demand for even greater upside protection. We're seeing gold rising along with the VIX. Bonds were more or less flat, a bit of pressure there as investors weigh the inflation risk from energy prices. Stocks also under pressure overnight following those private credit fears as well in the markets. And this is following on from Blue Owl restricting withdrawals. So it hit shares of some of these alternative asset managers as well. A reminder of the risk for retail investors. But overall, it was geopolitics casting a shadow over markets and the US president suggesting that the diplomatic window for Iran may be closing. Take a listen.
What do you think of getting a deal? It's going to be unfortunate for them. I would think there'll be enough time, 10, 15 days, pretty much maximum.
Peter Piper persistently missed packages, so he scheduled his deliveries with Amazon Business
Peter Piper picked up
and positively prospered. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. Peter Piper persistently missed packages, so he scheduled his deliveries with Amazon Business
Peter Piper picked up
and positively prospered. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
With the geopolitical uncertainties, we could see a risk-off session across Asia as well. You can see a sea of red already when it comes to futures and the early trading session on the ASX 200. Of course, we're watching very closely those energy-related shares. We've seen a lot of volatility in the metal space as well, so we're reacting to that. But the ASX 200 at the staggered open is a first loss in about 6 sessions. We already had a little bit of upside for the Aussie dollar because we had seen unemployment data beating to the upside in the previous session. So we'll be watching some FX moves as well as we continue to keep our eyes on the Japanese yen. Of course, a little bit of weakness given the risk-off sentiment sent the US dollar higher on the other side of the trade. We're seeing Nikkei futures at the moment losing almost 1%. We do have CPI numbers coming out of Japan later this hour, so do watch out for that. Of course, anything to do with the energy gains, we are really watching inflationary pressures across Asia as well. The Nikkei right now futures pointing to the downside. The again at that 155 level against the greenback. Joining us now is Barbara Slavin, Distinguished Fellow at the Stimson Center, to discuss all of the geopolitical risks right now surrounding Iran. She was previously director at the Future of Iran initiative at the Atlantic Council and led a bipartisan task force on Iran. Barbara, really great to have you with us. Give us a little bit of perspective of how significant these moves are by the United States to send forces around Iran. We're hearing it's the first time that we have such a massive force since the Iraq War.
It's frankly very worrisome. I don't understand what the emergency is that requires the United States to contemplate military action against Iran. The country is at its weakest in many ways. Its nuclear and other facilities were hit last June, as you know, by Israel and the United States. Its currency is extremely weak. It's just coming off very significant protests, which were repressed brutally. It does seem as though this is some sort of play to try to overthrow the regime, which President Trump has mentioned as one of his goals. But you cannot conduct regime change with airstrikes. If there is something more to this plan, I'm certainly not aware of it. It's causing a lot of consternation in the United States, frankly. A lot of political opposition, certainly among Democrats and also among Republicans to some extent. Trump has not asked for any congressional authorization. He's given no explanation for why Iran is suddenly such a threat to U.S.
Barbara, you mentioned the targeted attacks on Iran back in June, but of course we've also had the drug trafficking boats also being attacked, not to mention, of course, the extraction of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. How much bolder is the U.S. foreign policy towards these regimes getting recently, and what are the risks of this new approach?
Yeah, this is not what President Trump campaigned on. He didn't campaign on foreign adventures and regime change. It's really strange. It's as though he's channeled George W. Bush in some way. Again, I'm not privy to his personal thinking. He obviously believes that this is a strategy that can bring results. But we just had a very perfunctory session of talks in Geneva between President Trump's envoys and the Iranians. There was some talk about future negotiations and the Iranians promising to come forward with some concrete proposals, but the positions of the two sides seems very far apart. In the past, of course, we've had U.S. strikes while negotiations were supposedly still ongoing. So there's a lot of nervousness, frankly, that we might see strikes as soon as this weekend when all of these forces will be in place. The other factor, of course, is the Israeli factor. What are they hoping to get from this? Will they join in? Do they want to hit Iranian missile positions, perhaps, which is a key concern for them? Again, very, very little explanation, very little daylight, and this is really infuriating to people who thought President Trump would concentrate on domestic issues, and particularly the U.S. economy.
And to your point earlier about not having congressional approval, of course, this was also the case with Venezuela. But I wonder, given this backdrop, what is your sense of the extent in which there could still be a sort of deal on the nuclear program between the US and Iran?
Well, that means that President Trump will have to accept something less than what he has suggested.
Starting top of the morning, Mr. Gates. Of course, we had a meeting, we had a few things to handle with family. Family is number one priority. God is number one priority. The sabbatical, as you know, started yesterday at midnight and will continue until Monday morning. So no business for the rest of these days. But I do need to give you an update. On the net, once again, we broke the record again. I'm the most expensive person you can speak to on the net. The prices went up to a 450-hour minimum. It's going to go up to 777-hour minimum on the week of the 20th of April. Yeah, like around there. Whenever Warner Brothers has the meeting. Now, talks are ongoing, so we'll see what Warner Brothers decides to do. They are entertaining the offer, so we'll see. Right now, $450 minimum is 97,500 every 15 minutes, or 390,000 an hour. 450 minimum is 175.5 million euros. So it's more than dollars. We only accept Bitcoin or gold, but mostly Bitcoin. Obviously for logistics. The tour continues. Um, there's a lot of new markets opening up. Like Switzerland is a very big market for us, so we need to go and explore that market. Right now, slight priority over like Canada and Colombia, which I appointed you to be on top of that tour. But I have a few things I need to handle first. As you know, my lawyer is an artist as well, so I have to work around her schedule.
There's a
Because
reason
it's
to
all about
intimidate
what
is
can I
just
do
call
for you.
phone
So
punches.
same thing. Once I'm in position, then anything that I can do to help you, I need to make sure
Just
that
like
you're
there's a
running
reason
at
Morgan
the
& Morgan is
highest
America's largest
standard.
injury offer.
And I know that that's your world and that's everything that you know about, but the technology side, you're going to have to follow my lead. You're going to have to trust me. You're not there. Because remember, we're talking BlackRock, Blackstone. We're not talking Warner Brothers, Universal, so and that supersedes hypnosis because Blackstone, as you know, has bought the So everyday communication, consistency is key.
It's a bit like a wellness retreat.
Once again, the content is coming out phenomenal. The knowledge that you guys are giving away is great. Keep that up. I'm going to continue the marketing campaigns. I still haven't gotten around to it, but I'm going to try to do it. And of course, I'm ready, the new album. I'm ready thinking. I want to put an album together probably in the next few weeks. So we'll go from there. I don't want to promise the plans anything. You know what I'm saying? Not right now. So we have to keep with the marketing campaigns, weddings, Swiss Estates, quinceañeras, concerts, events, festivals, private, corporate, or public, and then, charity, churches, things like that. So we do it for the schools, no problem. And that's it. I'll keep you posted. Other than that, just keep going. I think that we're building up a good pace for this rollout. It's a good momentum. If we're all on the same page, moving in the same direction at the same time, there's nothing that we cannot accomplish. So let's keep the goals clear because 2026 is about solving bigger problems and the future looks bright, right? So this is what it comes down to. The NFT records combined, single and community based, are over 200 million. That's the number one. That's day one for us in the office. Everything else, you guys can ask me about everything else afterwards. Right now, that's the number one focus. The marketing campaign cannot be anything less than $50 million. Nothing less than that. There's very few companies that we trust, and that's who paid the media to handle a promotion. You have to understand, Goldman Sachs is spending $5 million. Michael Jackson used to get $5 million for a video. So just to put it in context, what was the value? What did that lead to as far as sales and market cap and value of that catalog? Now multiply that based on these records and the sheer amount of songs that we have in the catalog. We have broken every Guinness World Record in the last 6 years. That's way better than everything. And then we have the metadata to prove everything. Our catalog continues to improve because there's more artificial intelligence in the catalog. They designed that system to compete with our catalog. Any master that they've ever used to train any AI to try to clone or mimic my music, that's a guaranteed loss. And all we want is stock options. Now, as we know, Crystal is in charge of all the lawsuits and everything dealing with the patents. AC Graham is going to handle everything dealing with the publishing. We may have Wendy Day make a few phone calls. We have Miss Debbie Waka Flocka's mom. She's on board. She's part of the team. So, you know, we're building everything up. Everybody's asking about Mark Cuban. I'm letting them know about Arlen Hamilton. You understand me? Because, you know, that's somebody that I'm working with personally, directly, you know what I'm saying? So this is very, you know, we've been praying for a long time, we've been working hard for a long time, and this is part of that commitment. So without further ado, have an amazing day. May you conquer everything you have. May everything they touch them with the solid gold bars and silver bars and beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite and laboratory grown diamonds or any laboratory grown gem. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. Happen to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. We're going to make history this year. Yellow and Day. Keep it posted. Starting count. Maybe right now, I'm going to leave you a message tonight. It's how a blessed day. Almost, Miss Debbie. We're still in this battle. You know that Warner Brothers is entertaining the Paramount deal again. We're going to release an album the week of the 20th of April during the board members' meetings. So we're going to continue to pray. There's a little bottleneck in the system right now. We have a few things that we need to clear. And once we clear that, then everything's going to go into high performance. I will keep you posted. Most likely, almost every day. I doubt it will go more than one day before I reach out. So, you know, may you have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything you have, and everything that you touch turn into solid gold bars and silver bars, beautiful and precious gemstones, such as moissanite or laboratory-grown diamonds, or any laboratory-grown gem. Always remember to dream big, because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. God bless. You know I'm going to be your #1 Latin artist. I'm going to complete your portfolio of names. Wow. And you know they copied my album, right? You know they copied my greatest hits, right? She serves a we'll see. Friends, neighbors, even the mailman gets fed. Good thing she shops and saves at Winn-Dixie. €175.5 million over the net. All negotiations are exclusive to me. Okay, have a blessed day. I'll get in contact with you either sometime later today or tomorrow. God bless. Good luck to you. Yo, I'm about to holler at Mahani and tell him I send my best. It's long due. We need to go play some golf. If that's what you want to do, let's go play golf. You know I'm Tigre Madera, so you think you're nice. I seen you on Instagram, waking up in the morning, talking about, yo, you in the clubhouse, I got you. You want to run a quick game? We can run a quick game. We could go Angel Park. We could do Angel Park whenever you're ready. Holla at your boy. That was DJ Khaled. I'm gonna write you tonight. I'm gonna reach out in a little bit. I'm gonna tell you I love you, the love of my life. Daddy, we got this. The record is 200 million. Ya tú sabes. Colaboración 2026. Del 96 al 2026. ¿Cuántos años? 2006, 2016. Hace 30 años que el público no ve un material musical de Don Juan y Daddy Yankee. Así que Dios te bendiga. Vamos a ayudar a muchas iglesias. Yo te voy a regalar el máster. El máster tú se lo das a la iglesia y a la caridad de tu selección. ¿Okay? Dios lo bendiga. Y podemos hacer un álbum entero. Yo te doy el álbum completo. Tell Miss Jackie I'm going to be calling her soon to give her all the information so that she can send it to you and to see me. So, money team forever. I'll let you, boy. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yo, peace and blessings, my boy. I'm gonna write you tonight, and I'll write you in a little bit. I just want to tell you I love you, the love of my life. Okay, mama? We'll talk in a little bit. Have an amazing day today. Any questions, just write to me. As soon as I get it, I'll write you back. Hit me up on Starlink. I like the first one, number 5 and number 6. I think those are the best pictures. The first one is probably my favorite, but I think number 5 is nice because your sister is in that one. And then the other one I think that one looks nice, but that's more for like the European market. So it's your decision. Whatever you decide, I support you. But those are the pictures that I like. You're the love of my life. Have an amazing day.
Something less than what you suggested. The Iranians are perfectly willing to postpone, to stay shave off, suspend uranium enrichment for a number of years. They're willing to send out or dilute highly enriched uranium stockpiles, which they still possess, but they are not willing to say that they will never enrich uranium on Iranian soil. They believe this is their right. They also have ruled out any talks on their missiles or on their relationship with regional partners, which have also been mentioned as demands on the part of President Trump. He's also talked about regime change in a very cavalier fashion and suggested that would be a wonderful outcome. But again, I fail to see how attacking Iran now will bring about that regime change. It could bring about more chaos. It could bring about some civil strife, maybe more protests. But the Iranian government has been preparing for a long time now and expecting, frankly, new Israeli and American strikes. And I'm sure they have plans for pretty much whatever Trump is contemplating.
Barbara, on those issues on regional forces, can you also talk to us about how things have changed between Iran and some of its proxies in the past year? How much has its influence shifted?
Iran is certainly much weaker than it was a couple of years ago, primarily because of the blows struck against Hezbollah in Lebanon and also the fall of the Assad regime in Syria a couple of years ago. But Iran still has relations with secret
Possible upticks in interest in the 65-70 substitute.
Could closer.
Even if the deal is not much of an improvement on previous agreements with the Iranians. But if so, why all of this amassing of American military power? Why these threats? What's the strategy? What's the goal? We are frankly all rather confused here.
Barbara, thanks for outlining some of these questions we have on our minds, and great to get your insights. Barbara Slavin is Distinguished Fellow at the Stimson Center. Now let's take a closer look at the market reaction. Brilliant Bloomberg and Life strategist Brendan Fagan. Brendan, as we've been hearing, it's really the idea that, okay, the Strait of Hormuz could see some disruption, but also if this is a conflict or military action by the US, how long drawn out it might actually be. What are you seeing in terms of the pricing in markets, particularly with oil? How appropriately are things positioned?
I think things are finally balanced between the story of geopolitical risk in the near term and the longer term supply glut that still remains. You still have OPEC Plus flooding the market. We now have Venezuelan barrels online. So it's pretty interesting seeing the divergence there. But the interesting thing surrounding the Iran conflict is that a couple weeks ago, you were looking at pretty sizable upticks in interest in the 65, 70, 75 strikes in WTI. But that's starting to move out both in expiration and move higher in strike. So you're seeing traders positioned for possibly a prolonged conflict, looking at the November expiration as a big one in the 100 strike calls. So you're looking at a longer conflict possibly, but also much higher in strike price, which seems to say the traders think that oil can go much higher than where it is currently.
Peter Piper's pepper picking proved painful, so he ordered the supplies he needed from Amazon Business and positively prospered. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. Peter Piper persistently missed packages, so he scheduled his deliveries with Amazon Business and positively prospered. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
Brendan, in the broader market, though, when it comes to these geopolitical headlines, how long does the risk premium last at a time when we have to contend with fundamental issues like we do have the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation PCE coming up, not to mention, of course, the rotation out of tech?
Well, I think the big thing here is it'll last as long as we have uncertainty. And unfortunately, we have a lot of that at the moment. As you mentioned, geopolitical risk. Tomorrow's an opinion day at the Supreme Court, so that is overhanging. No guarantee we get that. We still have data coming in, and we have Fed speakers who are constantly changing their tune. It seems like we had a hawkish shift in the minutes, and then Stephen Myron still came out and said he doesn't see as accommodative as a path as previous, albeit he still sees 100 basis points of cuts this year. So there are a lot of factors to deal with here, and uncertainty is just not something that can really drive risk much higher in the near term.
Talk to us a bit more also about what macro traders are saying or thinking in terms of this spike in energy prices and the impact potentially on inflation and what that might mean for central bank policy making.
I think the big thing there that they're saying is that we need a much more prolonged spike in energy prices for that to feed through to inflation. So that isn't just a worry yet, but it goes back to what I said, that if we have this prolonged conflict in the Middle East that does drive crude up to, let's say, $90, $100 a barrel, and we stay there for a few months, then you'll see the feed through. But the big thing that I hear from rates traders, particularly in the Treasury complex, goes back to tariffs and the questions around this ruling. You know, a lot of the things I hear is that we might get more questions out of a ruling than we get answers. And people seem to be very concerned with refunds, what that means for funding needs for the government, how we may plug a hole if there are refunds. So that directly relates to monetary policy, and that seems to be the big driver from traders that I talk to now.
Brenda Fagan, always good to get your perspective. Bloomberg and Life Strategies there with the markets as we continue to watch some of these Aussie moves, especially in the energy sector. Of course, we have seen oil continuing to extend gains after settling at the highest level since August in the Wall Street session. It did pare back some of those gains on the report that President Trump was weighing a limited strike on Iran, but we can see right now that those oil majors are gaining ground early in the staggered session in Australia. And of course, it's earnings season, so we're also reacting to that. Take a look at Guzman y Gomez. This is an Australian restaurant operator. They plan to open new stores at almost a rate of 3 a month across Australia this year. They reported a surge in half-year profit on Friday. Their net income jumped 45% in the 6 months ending in December, April.
Yeah, Sherry, talking about corporate results coming up on the Asia trade. Don't miss our exclusive conversation with Japanese chemicals and advanced materials company Resonac on their earnings and business outlook. Plus, we'll discuss investment strategy and the market outlook with IG International. Much more ahead.